When I first started this podcast, I started it because I had a message that I wanted to share with the world. And it really became bigger than that. It became bigger because it became a community. It became powerful men and women that are ready for change, that are ready to grow and accelerate their life here on earth. You've watched the transition of this podcast as it started as Raising Your Standards, the Melanie Legend podcast, and now and finally, This is Healing. I've changed the podcast to This is Healing because it is so much greater than just one thing. Healing is the mind, body, and soul. It's connecting all of us on a greater level. Healing is healing relationships from something deeper than the surface. Healing is healing our health from more than just the physical. It's looking at the metaphysical, the spiritual, the mental aspects of health. And the same goes with our financial situations, our career. We have to look at them with a greater lens than what we've been taught. And that is exactly what This is Healing is. So I invite you on a journey with This is Healing to further explore what it means to look at life through a different lens, to look at it from a deeper and grander aspect than what you know. This is Healing will focus on true healing, combining the mind, body, and soul. I thank all of you who have been a part of this podcast and this journey, and I look forward to the community that it will become. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of This is Healing. It's a solo episode today. We're really going to talk about healing. I thought long and hard about what I wanted to talk to you guys about and how I was going to present it. And I know we've talked a lot on the spiritual side, we've talked a lot on the emotional side, but I want to give you something tangible. I want to talk about healing. I'm going to get into juicing as well as water fasting, and I'm going to touch on the Gerson therapy today. I want to give you information that you can then go research, information that you can use to really start cleaning out your body. And it's important to clean out our body because we're always in a toxic environment. We're always taking in things that aren't the greatest. And it's nice to just give our body a break or really help it detoxify from all of the toxins that we're taking in. So one of my favorites is juicing. So for those of you who have never juiced before or never followed my journey, I actually did about a year ago a 30-day juice cleanse, and that was kind of inspired by Super Juice Me. So it was this guy that went on a crazy juice fast, and he was just juicing all of the time, and I believe he did it for a year or two, and he really changed his life around. Like, this guy went from really sick, really overweight, to juicing and really just cleaning up his life. And then after he did that, and I believe the documentary is on YouTube as well, a lot of people know him. But the idea here is that juicing really, it helped him so much that it became his mission, that it became his message to the world. And when you do try juicing, you already feel the effects of it. Like it's absolutely, I swear by it, it's amazing. So how do you juice? So there's a couple rules to juicing. So I get this a lot when I'm putting somebody on a juicing protocol. How long do I juice for, Mel? Do I need a juicer? Can I just use a blender? There's no wrong way to juice, but there's a better way. And the better way is to really invest in a juicer. Now, you can get a wide spectrum of juicers. So I use a fusion juicer that allows me to not, spend too much money, but still get the benefits of juicing. But then there's also expensive juicers. Like you can get high-end $400 juicers that are actually masticators. Now, masticators just means that you're getting more out of your puree. So in my juicer, there's probably a little bit of juice, waters, minerals that don't make it into my juice. A masticator cuts down on that percentage that doesn't get transferred into the juice. So it just helps you extract more from your produce. The nice part about juicing is that when you use a juicer, you're actually getting all of those vital nutrients and that vital juice from your produce. So you're not going to get that if you blend it. So people are like, well, can I just blend it and then can I just strain it? Well, absolutely you can do that, but you're not going to extract it with the same quality and the same potency that a juicer is going to do. If everyone could just use a blender and strain it, they would. There's a reason that someone has designed a juicer to help with the process. So I do recommend getting yourself a juicer. The next question is how long? So your body is really going to react differently. Like some people, I had healing reactions right away from juicing. So that means like I got rashes, I got lockjaw, I got a lot of weird symptoms. That's also because I decided to juice fast. So there's different types of juicing. So you can just incorporate juice with meals. That's typical juicing. But if you really want to do a cleanse, if you really want to do a juice fast, I would recommend trying a couple days on a liquid fresh juice diet. Now, I know this is really hard for a lot of you, especially going 1 to 3 days just on juice, but that is really how you give the body a break. Now, the whole premise behind juicing is that you're giving the body a break. So when you eat, what's happening is that the body is working, the metabolism is working, and it's working towards breaking down whatever food you're ingesting because it wants to grab those minerals, it wants to grab those nutrients, and it wants to extract it from the food that you're eating. That takes energy, right? So your body has to use up some of its energy stores in order to extract those minerals and nutrients from the food that you're eating. When you're juicing, you are making it super easy on the body. You're going, here are the nutrients, here are the minerals. You don't have to do any work, just absorb them. That's the nice part. So then you're not expending that energy. So then your body is actually just taking in energy. And when it's just taking in energy, then it goes, hey, I've got all of these extra energy stores that I'm not using. Where else can I now put them? And that's where it'll go, hey, there's inflammation in this area. Now you have those energy stores to repair where the inflammation is. So 99.9% of the time, our body is so distracted and so overwhelmed with what's going on that we don't have the energy and the time to really help ourselves heal. So what juicing is doing is it's giving you this superpower of oxidants, minerals, nutrients in a high density, and it's giving yourself the rest and recuperation you need to start repairing the body. Also, when you go onto a liquid diet, you allow essentially debris to start to be flushed. So that's where the colon, because you're not putting anything physical, anything dense into your colon, you're allowing it to start flushing out any old debris, any old toxins, any old garbage that may have been stuck in your digestive system. So it is a great thing to do when you want to really reboot and start cleansing your body, because your liver is one of your most important organs. And I've talked about this before. Your liver just wants to help you out, but it can only detox the body so much. Like, it's always taking in these environmental toxins. It's always taking things that you've bioaccumulated over your lifespan. The liver is working overtime all the time. And then if you're, human, you've probably had a drink or two. You might drink quite often. You probably fill your body with fatty foods sometimes, hopefully not too much. But what I'm saying is you're overloading the liver. And when we put antibiotics, when we have medications, again, we're putting a heavy load on the liver. The liver starts to slow and slow because it can only take so much. Juicing says, hey liver, I'm here to help you. I'm ready to help you repair. I'm ready to give you what you need to do the best job that you can. So juicing is really important for getting your liver up to speed. Now, we have to be mindful that as we go over our life and in our lifespan, it's going to take time to repair the damage that we've made over years. And this is an important note to healing, because I know myself personally and a lot of clients that I have worked with, you want the fast results. You want to see whatever you're doing helping right away. But you have to remember that it took you how many years, like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years to accumulate these toxins and really start to cause havoc in the body. So to expect it to reverse itself in 2 weeks, in a couple of days, is not realistic. It's completely impractical when you look at the timeline of how it got there. So, it's not going to take 20, 30, 40, 50 years to remove, but it is going to take a year. It's going to take a year. It might take 2 years. It might take 3 years. And that's where our patience on our healing journey is really going to step in. And I said this on a podcast episode that I was invited on the other day as well. You cannot undo healing. Like, if you start healing the body, if you start taking supplements, if you start implementing juice protocols, you're not undoing the good work that you've done. If you go and have a beer, if you go and eat some nachos, you cannot undo the good effects of your healing, of your cleansing. So it's important that we don't go all or nothing. Like, oh, I didn't do this anymore. I shouldn't stick to it. I'm just going to let it go. Be mindful and keep trying to stay on that track, because it's hard to go black and white, especially when it comes to healing and removing dairy and removing all the stuff that you love. Try and find that middle ground. Try and find the coconut ice cream instead of eating the dairy product. Try juicing a couple times a day and work up to a juice cleanse protocol. The other thing to be mindful with juicing is if you're going to go over a day of juicing, you also want to help the body acclimate to the process. So you're about to go on a liquid diet. The great part about juicing is the difference is that you're actually getting calories. So you're going to get calories and sugar, which is great for the body. When you move into the world of water fasting, you're entering a little bit of a different ball game. So in juicing, you still have those energies and those nutrients, but the body is still going to move into repair mode. And what happens when the body is in repair mode? It wants to sleep. So you're going to feel a little bit of fatigue. And this is another thing to note. Do not go run a marathon. Do not go to the gym. Do not put your body under stress when you're cleansing, because the whole premise is that we're trying to use the energy to heal. We don't want to expend it on other things, put the body under more stress, activate your cortisol, activate your adrenaline, and cause more bad or more problems than actually good. So be mindful of that. Allow yourself to sleep, allow yourself to recuperate, and enjoy the process. Last but not least, with juicing, as I was saying, if you're doing over one day, allow your body to get used to the liquid. So usually what I do typically is if I'm doing a 3-day fast, the night before I'm introducing liquid. So I'm going to do a soup, perhaps a veggie soup, and then I like to finish off my last meal with coconut water. The strategy in doing coconut water is that I want to boost my electrolytes before I put myself into a juice cleanse. I want to make sure that everything is leveled, everything is topped up and good before I'm moving into the juice fast. When I'm done the juice fast, my stomach is the size of a peanut, so I can't eat, a burger. I have problems eating meals of large quantities. So usually I'm mindful of that, and I will break my fast or my juice fast with a small soup, with something liquid, with a smoothie, and then I will work up to bigger meals. Last things to note, be mindful of your body. If you're finding it super hard, if you're really struggling and your body's like, I can't do this, don't do it. You know what I mean? Like, you have to listen to your body. And the other thing is there's centers. So if you want to do a prolonged juice fast, if you want to do it with medical attention, that is available to you. And there's a lot of centers. There's the Gerson Institute. There's some in Costa Rica. I believe there's local naturopaths as well that help you with juice fasting. So that is juice fasting in a nutshell. I'm briefly going to talk about the Gerson therapy, which involves the juice cleansing as well as the coffee enemas. So I'm going to go in more depth to the Gerson therapy in another episode, but I just want to introduce it because it does involve the juicing. So the practicality or the premise of the Gerson therapy is that you're avoiding dairy, you're taking out gluten, you're taking out oils, you are taking out meat products. So you're moving to a pretty plant-based vegetarian diet with no additives. So when I first went on the Gerson therapy, I was finding it extremely difficult for a couple reasons. The first one was that I was craving fats. I was craving almonds. I was craving peanuts. I had a really big peanut butter problem at that time, because you're not really getting the fats from those foods. So be mindful of that, as well as it can be a little bit difficult when you're detoxing. And when I started detoxing on the diet, like I said, I was getting the healing reactions. Now, I wasn't from a standpoint ready for healing reactions because I actually thought I was getting sick when I was actually healing. So I stopped my healing process instead of actually going through with it. So one of the things when I was on a full fruit diet is that my body was purging, and it started purging a lot of toxins. Now, when you start releasing toxins, you get a reaction because the body becomes overwhelmed. So you have to be prepared for that. And that's where I say working with a professional or a practitioner in detoxing is a great opportunity to make sure that you're doing it safely. So the Gerson therapy is a vegan plant-based diet. It involves juicing 4 times a day, as well as eating plant-based meals. Now, the difference is the coffee enemas. And I got into the coffee enemas because the premise behind coffee enemas is that you're helping the liver detox. You're going in, you're grabbing those toxins that the liver is releasing, and you're helping get rid of them, expel them, so that they're not traveling around in your bloodstream. So I was feeling really great with the coffee enemas, and I do have a YouTube video if you guys want to watch that. It's on my channel at Melanie Legend. That was a really interesting experience for me, particularly. Number one, I was like, I am not doing a coffee enema. And then I ended up getting talked into doing coffee enemas. And then when I started doing them, you kind of get addicted to them. Like, you start to feel the healing benefits. Like, I would feel amazing after a coffee enema. And then I started getting parasites coming out of me. So, I'm a typical North American girl. You wouldn't think that I would have parasites. You wouldn't think that there's little worms in my stool movements. But after doing the coffee enemas, I started to get the parasites coming out. So that was interesting and also completely detoxing to my system. So I do recommend reading up on that, checking that out. It's important that you understand the protocols, but all the information is available online for free on YouTube, Gerson Therapy, as well as the internet. So you can just type in Gerson Therapy and get more information there. So I want to finish up today's conversation with a little bit of information about water fasting. And then if, of course, you guys have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. So water fasting is super awesome. It's an ancient practice. Like, I'm not just making this up. It's something that has been utilized for years. And the premise behind water fasting, again, is that you're giving the body a break. Like, you're not putting anything into it other than the natural source that it is. So our bodies are like 60% water. So you are just cleansing it with the thing that it knows the best. So to note on that, you also want to give it the best quality water. So what is the best quality water? Well, you want something that's natural. So chloride, fluoride, probably not the best option. Personally, I'm not a fan of that stuff. I drink water that's alkaline, free of that stuff. There's been a debate that distilled water is supposed to be an amazing substitute for water in a water fast. I have used distilled water, but now I'm tending to move towards the more alkaline products that are enhanced with electrolytes or different minerals. Water fasting, start with 1 day and then work up to as long as you want. I do caution that if you're going to go over 1 day, you should be doing it with a medical professional. You should have an idea of where your readings are. You should have an idea of what's going on in your body. I've gone up to 3 days, and it was very hard. I believe it was the second day I slept, and then the third day I was just so nauseous. And that was because actually I deal with H. pylori, and specifically my stomach is very low in hydrochloric acid, probably from all of the coffee that I drink. But as well as the stress levels. So when your body starts repairing, it's going to activate whatever it's repairing. So I was getting stomach pains, I was getting nausea, I was getting, flu-like symptoms. My body was repairing itself. It was purging these toxins. It was helping me heal, but it was really just more than I could handle at that point in time. So I ended up closing the water fast and just couldn't do it anymore. So that's why I say, listen to your body and seek professional help if you really want to dip into it and want that second opinion or that assistance. Water fasting is so powerful. There's so much research online about it. Water fasting is it's incredible. You're allowing the body to do what it does best, which is heal. And you're just giving it the environment or the nutrients that's going to help it do that. Water fasting is also great for clarity of mind. And it also, in the past, has been used as a spiritual kind of quest or journey. So that is water fasting. So if you're interested in protocols, reach out to me. Send me a DM on Instagram. Send me an email, info@melanielegend.com. Head over to my website, www.melanielegend.com. Reach out. I'm happy to talk to you about juicing and water fasting protocols. If that's something that you're interested in, I'm also happy to send information on coffee enemas, Gerson therapy, whatever you guys need to heal. Reach out. Let's talk about it. Let's help each other out. So I hope this information was, useful. I hope it's practical and that you can go and use it. And I will see you guys next week for another episode of This is Healing. Thanks for spending this time with me. Thanks for healing with me. And I love you guys so much. In love and light. Bye. Namaste. And that concludes another episode of This is Healing. Thank you guys so much for spending this time with me, for helping me build this community and be a part of it. Again, I would be so grateful if you shared this with friends, families, members of your community that would benefit from the information and the knowledge. We are really all in this together, and healing the collective is all a part of our journey. So thank you for being here, for sharing it, and being a part of our community. If you haven't already, please head over to iTunes, leave us a review, let us know what you think of the show. I would also love to hear topics that you guys would love covered. So send me a DM on Instagram. I'm at melanie.legend. You can also connect with me via my website at www.melanielegend.com. If you'd like to send me an email, it's at info@melanielegend.com. I look forward to connecting with you guys and look forward to seeing you for another episode of This is Healing. Love and light.